my initial qualifications are not in ICT.
Wow.
So I had to, venture into this field. So it's about finding interest.
Women in STEM fields such as science, technology, engineering and mathematics are taking the industry by storm, with many now venturing into the industry which was previously dominated by men. A serving public servant since the year 2000 and having been in the ICT industry since 2011 to date, Linda Aipinge, the Director of ICT Development at the Ministry of Information and Communication Technology, joins us in the studio to give us an overview of her experience in the industry as a woman, challenges and opportunities, as well as the promotion of diversity and inclusivity in the ICT sector. Linda, good afternoon, and thank you so much for joining us.
Good afternoon, Chair, and good afternoon to the listeners and the viewers.
Of 99 FM. Yeah. Let's start at the very beginning. Can you provide us with a bit of an overview of your experiences in information communication technology development, and also including the most significant achievements that you might have on your records? Yes.
Thank you very much. I think what is important first to highlight is what we do as a directorate responsible for ICTD, which is basically to create a conducive environment for the sector by developing laws and policies and strategies for the sector. We also review and amend when necessary. Also, we look at infrastructure development in the country, because you can't talk about ICT without talking about the connectivity and the infrastructure required for that. In terms of the achievements, in line with the laws and policies that I talked about, we have a broadband policy which actually set the minimum standard for your broadband connectivity, which is 2 megabits per second. So that's what you should expect from your service providers. I think you are aware also that there are ongoing discussions, or in terms of the project, in terms of SIM card registration. We put the law is in place, and then the regulations. So we were involved in actually driving that, the process that is then managed by the regulator. But as a ministry, we play an oversight. Yes. Again, when you talk about digital connectivity, let's not forget about cybersecurity. So we have also, as a ministry, developed a national national cybersecurity strategy and awareness raising plan, because you can have your good laws and policies, but then if the end users don't understand, then it's pointless. I think that is basically what I can mention in terms of these achievements so far.
And with the rest of them, and if we need more, they are certainly out there available on the Internet of Things. How do you stay updated with the latest trends, technologies, and apply these knowledges to your work on a day-to-day basis?
I think we are fortunate as a country, and like in the position where I'm serving, then I also become a beneficiary of this, because we are members of the Southern Africa Development Community, the members of African Union, the members of International Telecommunications Union. So there are various discussions on all the matters of the ICT sector, where we, as a ministry, we participate in that. So at SADC level, we look at, for example, like I talked about the broadband connectivity, that SADC really wants that connectivity. So these platforms create such knowledge sharing, because let's say, for example, when they talk about the 5G technology, these are the decisions that are taken at these platforms, and we are part of that for us to understand what exactly is going on, and also to read the articles, just to research and do some self-paced courses that are out there free of charge. So that is basically what we do, or I do, in order to update myself.
But no AI yet, no any robotics
yet? Reading. Yeah, I mean, the other day I was reading an article about AI being in the kitchen, cooking. So it's taking over. So this is what we are busy researching and all that, because our laws and policies must be responsive and accommodative of this. Yes.
Can you describe your approach to developing and implementing ICT strategies to support business goals and objectives?
In terms of, let's say, the laws, there is a rule-making procedure in terms of, like, when you develop a law policy, you should consult. You should get certain approvals. For example, Cabinet should give you approval to develop a particular policy or a law. So that is basically the approach that we follow. But what is important is that, like I said, you can be very fortunate to be in a position where I am, but the documents that are there are not for myself. So we have stakeholders or the experts that are in the field that are helping us in terms of in the development. But in terms of the implementation, for example, there are structures in place. Laws make a provision for structures. Like you have the Communications Act that talks about the establishment of the regulator, which is CRAN. You have your broadband policy, for example. There are processes or structures in place, like there should be a steering committee that steers the development of, or the implementation, apologies, of these policies, strategies, and laws. So these are basically just it. So what we do, we play an oversight role just to ensure that if the regulator implements or oversees the implementation of this law, then our law is at how effective are they, our role, how effective are this, and what needs to be changed. Like at the moment, we have the broadband policy that the ministers responsible for SADC, the SADC ministers responsible for ICT basically made a decision that we need to move the broadband target that I talked about from 2, we're now moving to 5, and other targets that are there. So we need to ensure that then we review, because then that will hamper the implementation if that's not reviewed. Your thoughts?
We touched lightly on artificial intelligence cooking in the kitchen earlier on, but tell us about your thoughts on emerging technologies like AI, blockchain, the Internet of Things and its pace of growth, and how do you see them impacting ICT developments for the future of Namibia?
Yeah, it is somehow scary.
I mean, like, we always look at it as a country like we seem to be a bit far away from these, but they're right around the corner, actually.
Yes, I think, like I said, it's quite scary to see what is happening, you know, the trends that are upcoming. But as a country, we don't operate as an island.
As in isolation.
Yes, in isolation. Yeah. So we have to ensure that whatever then the laws and policies that we have, for example, should accommodate from the ICT sector perspective that, let's say, if now you have a robot teaching the kids in class, how do we accommodate that? So what we do then in terms of our role is basically just to ensure that we are reviewing our policy. At the moment, we are reviewing and consolidating our policy so that we can accommodate the emerging trends. And I've also seen, like, the Bank of Namibia in terms of your trading online and all that, they have the laws in place. So we are actually developing the laws and policies to accommodate that, because it becomes a bit of a challenge because technology moves at a very fast pace. But there is potential, because we believe that with technology development come opportunities also for innovation and all that. We don't look at the negative side of it. We also look at the positive side of it in terms of how our sector then can grow.
Speaking of the pros and the cons, let's talk about some of the challenges and the opportunities in the ICT development in Namibia. What do you believe is most significant in terms of challenges and opportunities at our current pace?
I think it's a digital divide. Between the urban and rural areas, or the unserved and unserved areas.
Is it a big gap?
I don't have the statistics, but it's really it's a challenge, because the regulator undertook a gap analysis, and we have seen, for example, that Kunene is one of the at the lowest the low
development-wise when it comes to ICT.
Yeah, the connectivity and all that. Yeah.
So and what about some opportunities? What is looking good for us in terms of something that we are getting right?
Yeah, I think it's just for us, let's say, for example, service delivery.
Yes.
That in terms of service delivery, things can be done faster. You cut out bureaucracy. And like I mentioned, also the issue of innovation, that you really, with technology, with the availability of the gadgets, my phone is my workstation.
Yes.
I work wherever I am. So we think that the opportunities really are there that we need to embrace. But like I said, also we need to be cautious of the cybersecurity, because the more we are connected, the more we become victims if we are not
vulnerable.
careful.
That's right.
Yes, exactly.
And it's a very thin line, isn't it? I mean, what's the point of having an iPhone Pro Max or whatever, but you can't access the full potential of it because of all those little tapes in between. So we can see definitely there is developments that are happening in the sector. How important do you think is the promotion of diversity and inclusion in the technology industry?
You know, the laws and policy strategies that we put in place are actually targeting the end users.
Yes.
Our interest are the end users. We create an enabling environment, but then for the users to enjoy the potential offered by ICT. So that is basically our interest in terms of inclusivity. And also maybe just to mention is that our laws are not either technology neutral to indicate what type of technology can be used.
Until what point?
Because technology moves, but also we don't, except I think, for example, the cybercrime bill that we actually focusing the children, like in terms of child pornography. But otherwise our laws and policies are basically just for everybody. So we are targeting everybody. We want everybody in the country to be connected and enjoy or even make the informed decision. So that's basically what we are advocating for.
And in a protected space where our privacy is also very, very much protected.
Yes, exactly.
Finally, do you have any advice or words of inspiration for women like you who would like to venture into the ICT industry at some point?
I think all I can say, it's never too late to start. My initial qualifications are not in ICT.
Wow.
So I had to, venture into this field. So it's about finding interest and investing in yourself. It's very important. And importantly, is about consistency, that you have to be consistent in what you do because that's what defines you. That's how people take you serious if you are consistent. You can't be this person today and tomorrow you are. So you really have to be consistent and believe in yourself that if you actually start something, finish it.
That's right.
So you have all the powers and all the potential to make you the you that you want.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Linda, thank you so much for your time this afternoon and for joining us and bringing us up to speed in terms of what's happening in the world of ICT development. We appreciate the work that you're doing, and hopefully we get to have you back here soon giving us some news and updates on technology in Namibia.
Thank you so much.
Yes. Well, that's the voice of Linda Aipinge, who is the Director of ICT Development at the Ministry of Information and Communication Technologies, joining us in the studio just to give us an overview of her experience in the industry, challenges, opportunities, and how you can better your life through ICT. I mean, she said it's never too late. If you have ever had any interest in the sector, then start reading up now, start doing research, as ICT is changing and developing in Namibia, and it's going across the whole African continent. How do you become a part of it, and what role do you play?